Struggling a little bit. Boom. Hola, hola. Let's see here. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this update because News Nation spoke to this Oklahoma mother. So we're going to get to that in a second. Amber says, my son was prescribed a low dose of Adderall at 12, but he did not like the way it made him feel. And it stayed on long enough to see if it helped, and it did not. That's kind of like, we were supposed to have an Adderall talk like a long time ago, and we never did. And I don't know if this is the stream we're going to do it. Maybe we can take some calls if anybody wants to call in. I feel like if we do an Adderall live stream, or ADHD, I should say, live stream, we should probably schedule in advance, and we can do like a more of a planned thing. But I probably will open up the lines towards the end because I've heard a lot of different mixed feelings about this. I've heard of people say it works for them. I heard people say it works for the kids. I heard some people say it doesn't work for the kids. Obviously, it's different for everybody. You know, I had my own personal experiences and I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Ashley said I tried alerting you last night about this. I had a couple of friends that texted me, but I wasn't last night. I don't even think I looked at my phone once when I was streaming. And that's because when I'm reading a lot, I don't pay attention to my phone. If not, I usually am looking. And the other thing I want to ask you guys before we even start on this topic, this story, I know a lot of people are hungry for another trial. And I've been hearing, have you guys heard of this Travis Rudolph thing going on? It's a trial that's going on now. It's almost over. It's pretty short. People keep tagging me and they're like, yo, Mel, you got to check this out. Mel, you got to check this out. And he's like this ex-football player. They say it's kind of crazy. Kayleen was telling me the state is on their last witness. Oh, the state is on their last witness. I thought it was the defense. Okay, state is on their last witness. I think it's worth doing a recap of the combative witnesses. Maybe do a live stream when Travis takes the stand. This all popped off from his crazy ex, Dominique, hitting him and then lying about DV. And she was effing married. What? You got to watch her testimony. I don't know. I was thinking we could do a poll, maybe. And if you guys want to, we could do something maybe starting Monday. Let me see, because next week, what do we got planned? Next week, we just have the Koberger stuff on Friday. So like if we have that Koberger stuff, we can take a break, 1 day break from the trial and then continue. I don't know if we cover the whole thing because I was thinking we could do like opening statements, the ex-girl, whatever. I don't know. Or I don't know if we need to watch the whole thing. What do you guys think? Should I do a little poll and see? Maybe I should do a poll in the YouTube community tab. Because at least then we could skip past the lunch breaks if they have any and whatever else. It'd be a lot faster than watching it live. So I know like people like watching it live, just like a chase. They don't like watching the replay. But I heard it's pretty good. Let me do a little poll. Start poll. Cover the ex-football player trial. Maybe it'll be something in the meantime that we can do, you know? She was nasty on the stand. Really? Ooh. All right, so I'm going to have that poll up. You guys can tell me. I'll also run a poll on my community tab. Actually, let me do that right now. Or maybe I'll do it after the stream, actually. Let me not waste time right now. So, okay, so that's one thing that we can do. Now, this story that we covered last night with the body cam, and this girl, the 12-year-old girl at the time, thank you, Kitty, for the memberships, 5 memberships. Amazing. Amazing. This girl stabbed her brother in January. She was 12. He was 9. This was in Oklahoma. And we saw the body cam and we talked about some of the details last night. And we went over the GoFundMe and all this stuff. And I guess as I was streaming, this new thing came out. So we'll check this out because the mother was saying she has no history of like mental health or anything. The only thing they say here is some ADHD medication. But what I thought I heard the mother say too, I thought I heard her say non-narcotic. I thought I heard her say that. And so, what are the non-narcotic? We should listen to it, but I thought she said non-narcotic, and the thing that pops in my head is like strateria. That one's non-narcotic. That one can be kind of crazy. Non-narcotic ADHD meds. Strateria is the first thing that pops up. There's another one. I feel like that strateria could be something. I don't know, but let's listen, and then we'll go from there. And so far, 69% say yes, 31% say no. My reel says, I've been in that trial. Everyone who has been in that stand has been terrible, awful attitudes and talking back. That's perfect. That's what we need to cover. Amazing. Well, that's great. That's what I'm looking for. Excellent. You've been asking for the trial too? For a week? Okay. Trish, you're on strateria. How you feel? Medications don't make you stab people and kill people, period. I don't know about that. There's some medications that have those potential side effects of like suicidal ideations and whatever else. All right, let's see.
Medication issue, not anything else. It looks like it was a medication issue, not anything else. It's just like a manic episode of some kind. From a non-narcotic ADHD medicine.
Help me understand. So she was on an ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, very common for parents out there. They'll hear about it. They come with indications, but there's usually guidance about, well, you may start seeing things. Was this part of a downturn or a spiral? Was there any other behavior that gave you any indication that the kid was unstable?
No. She was fine. She wasn't unstable until she was put back on the medication.
So she was on the medication.
She hurt herself.
What happened to take her off it?
She cut her arms within a month of being back on it. So I immediately took her off after speaking to the school and her doctor and herself. We had a long conversation. She said that she felt like she was really irritable, angry for no reason on the medication. So, of course, I took her off of it. Unfortunately, it was too late. The damage was done. Stuff like this can happen months or even years after being off of a medication like this.
So she was on the medication. You took her off. She went back on. She started to self-harm. You took her off again. What did the doctors tell you about why going on or off was the right thing? Were they in favor of taking her off both times?
Well, the first time I took her off, it was my decision and Jalen's decision because she was being homeschooled at the time and she wanted to see if she could do it without her medication because the only reason why she was on that medication was because she was having a hard time concentrating with 20, 25 other kids.
I remember too when I was taking Adderall or when I used to take like Vyvanse, I used to sometimes wonder because when I first took it, it was like amazing at first. And so I was wondering, it's like, what if I get off of this? Can I still do the things that I do at the level that I'm doing it? You know, sometimes you almost question, can I do it without it?
We were homeschooling that year, and I told her that was fine. We can try it out and see if she does well on it. And if she does, she'll continue to not have to take it. But like I said, a year and a half later, she went back to public school. And the doctor recommended putting her back on it because her grades were slipping. And so I did. I put her back on it. And then a few weeks later, a month later, she cut her arms. So that's when I was told to take her back off of it, which I did immediately. So she was on it for 5 years straight.
Wow, 5 years. And I guess no issues of like cutting until they took her off and put her back on?
I took her off of it because she wanted to see if she could go without it and do her schoolwork without it.
Did she stop cutting herself when you took her off?
Yeah, she only cut herself that one time, and then the night right before she attacked my son, she cut her arm again. But she had not self-harmed before after that.
And then, and I'm sorry, but I mean, you know, I know you're trying to figure this out, and it's all just about trying to understand how so that you can get her the help that she needs. With her brother, what was the relationship like before this happened in January?
They were close. They've always been close. It's always been just us three until 3 years ago. They did yoga together almost every night. They went on vacations together and trips together. They always sat next to each other. They were very close. She loved him and he loved her.
Was she able to tell you what led to her stabbing him?
She has no idea why she did it. She's heartbroken and feels very guilty, but she still doesn't understand why she did it. She said it was like it wasn't her. And the team of specialists working with her, they believe her after working with her for the last 6 months every day. And I believe her too, because I know my child and I know that wasn't her.
I want to listen to it again because I thought I heard it say it was non-narcotic.
It looks like it was a medication issue, not anything else. It's just like a manic episode of some kind.
Help me understand.
From a non-narcotic. So they're talking at the same time. That's why it's hard to hear. But she says a non-narcotic. So somebody had mentioned earlier, oh, maybe it was Ritalin. Ritalin is it says here Schedule 2, so that's a narcotic. Amphetamines typically are scheduled drugs. It's not going to be like, Strateria, that's how you say it, is a non-narcotic, non-stimulant medication. Strateria's side effects. Let me see. Side effects. Okay, nausea, vomiting. Let me show you guys too. You can see. Nausea, vomiting, dry mouth, low appetite, sleep changes, headache, suicide, thoughts or behaviors, aggressive behavior or anger, liver damage. Let's see what else. That's it. We're just, I don't know, just speculating. And this is not, I don't know what medication. Interesting. So when I look at this too, because when you look at the serious side effects in kids, it can cause psychotic or manic symptoms in children and teenagers. Call your doctor immediately. If your child experiences new or worsening mental health symptoms. Let me see. I'm looking at information being sent to me. Ooh, let's take a look at this. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I have mixed feelings, man. My experiences when I first started it was like years ago, and I don't remember when I first started, what medication it was. It might have been Vyvanse, or maybe it was something else than Vyvanse. But at the beginning, Vyvanse was like amazing for me. Like this was when I was working at the hospital. I started like just performing really well and like super focused, really good mood, social. I even got like a email compliment from my manager, like, oh wow, like seeing like a big change and stuff. And after a while, I got off of it because I don't know. That's when I was like going through a lot of I think it was after my dad passed away. I was going through a lot of stuff, and it was kind of expensive too. I don't remember if I had it covered. Maybe it was covered by insurance. I think I had to get a prior authorization. But I just remember in the beginning it was great. Then I came off of it for a while. Because I think at that time too, I was like partying and stuff, and so you can't do that really, or you can kind of, but you shouldn't. And so I just got off the stuff. But then a couple of years later, I got back on it, and it was somewhat good. But then what I realized after, like if I were to take it now, I took some not too long ago, but I can't take it like on a regular basis because now for me, it just makes me like antisocial. I don't want to be like bothered. I don't want to be like interrupted. I have a shorter temper when I'm on it, less patience. For me personally, it's not good for parenting. I just become like super hyper focused on what I'm doing, which you want to be focused, but like I'm hyper focused. And I feel like it also brings out like the hedonistic side of me. I feel like it also makes me want to like, I don't know, I feel like I want to drink more when I'm on it too. I don't know. I can't explain it. It just makes me, and then when you're drinking on it, it's like you don't even feel the effects of alcohol. But it seems like it feels like it's synergistic and almost works together, even though you shouldn't. You're not supposed to. You know, the only way I could really take it now, I think, is just like if I have a day that I'm not really going to be probably doing YouTube much, or if I'm just editing videos. But if I'm going to be like cleaning and taking care of a bunch of stuff in the house, I think that would be probably good for me. But like otherwise, I don't even really want to talk to people, you know? And then I don't know. Yeah, the effects of it on kids. Well, let me open up some of these articles. I have mixed feelings about it, man. It's like a long ass study that was sent to me, but yeah, I need a shorter version of this. Okay, let's see. Yeah, these are all studies I'd have to look over. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I have some videos too that I pulled up previously. Yeah, I don't know. I think with kids too, it can be really tricky doing that. I mean, just because all the potential side effects and how is that kid going to communicate that, and then the long-term effects in the developing mind. You know, wish I could play this video, but I can't. Let's see. So this is from 2019. Certain medications used to treat ADHD in teens and young adults may be more likely to cause symptoms such as paranoia, hallucinations, delusions, and hearing voices. A new study suggests researchers found that patients who had been newly prescribed amphetamines such as Adderall and Vyvanse were more likely to develop psychosis than those who had received a prescription for methylphenidates such as Ritalin and Concerta. According to the study published Wednesday by the New England Journal of Medicine, while psychosis with either class of medication is relatively rare, occurring at a rate of 1 in 660 patients, experts caution that patients should know about the increased risk. They also noticed that the increased risk was only for those who recently began treatment. So she's been on it for a long time, though, with a new amphetamine prescription, and hers was an amphetamine for ADHD. And those that have taken the drug and tolerate it well should not be concerned. If someone has been on Adderall, they're tolerating it well, it's helpful for their symptoms, and they're taking it as prescribed, there's really not much cause for concern. At the beginning of our study in 2005, a patient had about 50-50 chance of getting Adderall or Ritalin. There's been a huge increase in Adderall prescriptions over the course of the study of almost 4 times as many prescriptions for Adderall. Yeah, they're giving that thing out like candy. As the number of students with psychosis grew, Morin decided to look further into the issue. What she found was that a common factor among cases seemed to be amphetamine prescriptions for ADHD to determine whether there was really a higher risk of psychosis. Researchers focus on patients 13 to 25 years old who started taking their amphetamines and methylphenidates from January 1st, 2004 to September 30th, 2015. Among then 221,846 patients included in the study, 110,923 were methylphenidate and 110,923 were taking amphetamines. New cases of psychosis were identified in 106 of the patients taking methylphenidate as compared to 237. Nearly double the rate. So, okay. So it's like rare, but it can happen. Hello? Okay. Okay. Okay, I have to go. Thank you. I have to go. Thank you. I have to go. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I can't. She sent me some information, but I can't be too long. Let me see here. The Food and Drug Administration has been aware of the issue. Psychosis, a fact, in 2007, federal agency mandated that ADHD medication labels include warnings. Okay. I remember when I went to get my, when I went to the doctor, the first and the second time to get it, they just asked me questions and they were supposed to give me some sort of test, but they never gave me the test. Both times they never gave me the test. I feel like they just give that thing out like nothing. I don't know if I can play this. I can play this. I think we should watch this. Kat says, let me do a poll too. All right, we did this already. Should kids be taking Adderall? Start poll. Should kids be prescribed Adderall? Some people think the mom's in denial. See some of the comments. See if I can actually play this without issues with these people.
Okay. I take 40 milligrams of Ritalin long acting in the morning. I then take 20 milligrams of Ritalin slow release in the afternoon.
17-year-old Jaleisha Newell has been on Ritalin for a decade. She's one of tens of thousands of Australian children now on...
17. Yeah, some people take that stuff like all day long. Some people are taking... I've heard of people taking like the long thing, the long release, the slow release, and then taking small instant release doses throughout the day. Some people are like hopped up on that stuff. That's a lot though for 17 years old. Being that much? I don't know, just my opinion. That's a whole lot of shit.
ADHD medication.
I feel confident in talking about ADHD because it's a part of me, it's who I am. When I'm off the medication, I get very irritable and I feel very anxious.
Does it concern you that you've been on the medication since you were 8?
I have not had any side effects whatsoever.
Since 8, wow.
If Jaleisha is a success story, recent developments in Australia and the US have only added to concerns about the rapidly increasing use of these powerful medications.
60,000 Australian children are on prescription amphetamines, and I think we need to be enormously concerned when the evidence that's emerging is that they do no long-term good, simply harm.
Former schoolteacher Martin Whiteley
Over here, Debbie says, more discipline, more spankings, less drugs. Oh, shit. Beat them kids.
is on a crusade to slash the numbers of children taking ADHD medication. The way he sees it, the shower of pills is now a deluge.
I'm enormously worried that we're using speed, i.e. amphetamines, to ask children to be compliant. That is, we're asking them to speed up and sit still.
This is what the fuss is all about. As a doctor, I've repeatedly seen how these ADHD medications improve the focus in children and young people and help them cope with inattention,
I like the dramatic, radical music.
impulsivity and perhaps hyperactivity, so that their parents and their teachers can reach out and teach them successfully. On the other hand, when ADHD medications are combined with other problems. These powerful psychoactive drugs mix with the already chaotic brain soup and create behavioural nightmares. As you'll see tonight, the management of ADHD is both complex and controversial.
In 2001, Martin Whiteley swapped the classroom for the bear pit. He's now a Labor Party MP in Western Australia.
I'm now going to go on to my favourite topic, which of course we all know. Yes, it is. It's ADHD.
But it was his former job that first sparked his interest.
I was concerned when I was a teacher about the number of boys that were in my class that were very heavily medicated, and I became concerned that their behaviour wasn't typical of.
And I thought back in the day, like the teachers would recommend or tell the parents, hey, you need to put your kid on Adderall. I heard that's where teachers tell. Let's see, I thought that was a thing. I don't know where I heard that. Yeah, there's some forms about it. Oh, somebody said it. The school insists we medicate my daughter. Child's teacher can tell you she thinks your child may have ADHD and may need medication.
14, 15-year-old boys. They were unusually compliant and unusually quiet.
He's been campaigning for the best part of a decade against Ritalin and its cousins.
Because amphetamines will immediately alter behaviour, a lot of parents are actually fooled into thinking, oh yes, the doctor was right. Little Johnny did have ADHD and this pill has treated his condition. But what they're actually seeing is the effects that amphetamines have on virtually anybody.
And in Western Australia, his campaign has seen a dramatic decline in the use of ADHD drugs on children.
A decade ago, Perth was considered to be the ADHD capital of Australia. In that year, the official figures showed that 18,000 children were prescribed stimulant medication for ADHD. The recent figures show that that number is now down below 6,000.
I have no doubt that medication caused a lot of Brandon's problems. When he was taken off the medication, they went away.
Brandon is one of those 12,000 kids no longer on medication. According to his mum...
And what's interesting, so this mother's personal experience, she takes her kid off of medication and she said like the problems went away. But when we're thinking about this story with the 12-year-old girl, her mother's, I believe she said that she took her off, and that's, I guess, when things got worse, which I guess could make sense in a way. I guess if your body's used to it, maybe.
Catherine, as a little boy, he was a
I would think I don't know.
Hyperactive handful. At age 9, doctors put him on dexamphetamine to control his excessive behaviour.
And that dexamphetamine one, that one's pretty strong, I thought I heard. Dexamphetamine, I remember people used to talk about that and say they love it. It's like, oh, I want the dexamphetamine. That's the best one. Oh, I got to get that one. Out of all the amphetamines, you got to get the dexamphetamine. And they say that one's like hard to get a hold of. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they say. That's what I'm thinking of, dextroamphetamine. Yeah, just getting, because I think some of them have a combination, but some people are saying just the dexamphetamine. Some people try to go for that. The difference between dexamphetamine and Adderall. I just take videos of music and words, nobody talking.
First, it was okay, but then the behaviours started to get a lot worse.
Ending up on multiple medications for
Rose says she put her on and was no. Rose says she put her on and was bad, so took off. No, from what I heard the mother say, when we just watched the interview, mother said that she was on it for like 5 years, had no issues, and I believe she was homeschooling and wanted to see if she can go without taking the medication. I believe, right? Wasn't that it? Or did we hear two different stories? I swear, I should stop swearing. I thought I heard the mother say that. Correct me if I'm wrong. She was put her on and was bad, so took her off. So, or maybe you're talking about the last time because she was on it for a long time. They took her off, then they put her back on, and then they took her off. Shit, I'm confused now. Adderall, then Oxy's next. Kids on them perkies. Kids should not be medicated until they're adults. We're gonna have to look at that GoFundMe and see what it was. I don't know which one it was. Kind of forgot. Julianne says, I used to take a very high dose of Adderall for chronic fatigue, which that's just interesting that they do that. I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I wonder, Julianne, did they do like a full blood work on you? Because sometimes people just have deficiencies in vitamins. I don't know. So chronic fatigue, and they're just like, let's give you Adderall. I didn't know I had ADHD, but I was much more focused and organized on it. It didn't keep me awake, but it made me jittery, and I didn't like it. There was one time I was taking Adderall XR, and it made I would get these weird sensations in my chest. So much so that I stopped taking it. I had to talk to the doctor, and they took me off it. For some reason, I don't know. The thing with Adderall, too, one thing I learned with that medication is brands and generics matter. And even generics, different variations of generics matter, and some of them give you different side effects and feelings. I don't know. In my personal experience, some are more effective than others. So people really look for specific brands, whether it's generic or brand, certain manufacturers, I mean, for the medication. Yeah, I didn't like it, man. What was I guess she deleted her comment. Oak said, I'm at the age, if I'm overly tired, it's time for testosterone boosters. I just got to the point where it just wasn't good for me. Like, I would still take it. I took some like a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, and it was cool for me to, I did a whole bunch of stuff around the house and everything, but I wouldn't want to stream on it. I would edit a video, but I wouldn't want to stream on it. I wouldn't really want to be, I would just want to do what I need to do and be done type of shit. And that's it. I can't see taking it every day for me personally, but there's people that take that stuff and they say they're pretty good. They don't have any side effects and it works for them, you know? 5 is better. I do think 5 is better too. I think it's just smoother, cleaner, quote unquote.
ADHD and other mental health problems, Brandon suffered night terrors and much worse.
Oh, night terrors.
He used to smash his head into brick walls. He would have no control whatsoever. He was very, very violent. He would have these psychotic episodes and he was totally uncontrollable and he would smash things, and so he didn't get hurt, I would hold him, which would result in me getting punched up quite a lot.
Wow.
What happened when the police got involved?
I'm not sure what happened, but I ended up breaking a lot of stuff in the house, like windows and desks and TVs and stuff, and yeah.
Like he was robbed of his childhood.
Brandon is one of the more extreme cases. But for doctors, there's often no requirement to report the types of serious side effects he suffered to authorities.
Yeah, there is no requirement. There is a website from, I don't know if it's the Food and Drug Administration. There's a website that you can report adverse effects, and you should. And look at their criteria right there. I just think with kids, I don't know, it's got to be so tricky because sometimes the communication, maybe the kid doesn't know what they're experiencing or trying to communicate that. I think it's so much trickier with kids. But like I said, I've seen people that said, it's actually helped their kid. They're doing better. But then we have stories like this where, I mean, it's horrible, And then my friend messaged me saying, I totally feel the generic Adderall differences. I feel like one brand more. I've liked one brand more than there was one brand that just wasn't as effective. Yeah, I've experienced that, and I've had friends tell me that. And the problem is too, some pharmacies only carry one type of manufacturer. Then you have to go to another. Sometimes you're shopping pharmacies and try to find the specific manufacturer. Sometimes there's always shortages. Sometimes you don't got a choice. Sometimes you got to take the shitty brand. I remember my friend that was taking the medication. He told me that one of the generics or something he was taking made him start getting like these, I don't know, like boils or something coming out in his ear, like these little balls or something was happening in his ear. I don't know what was going on. And so he said he had to stop taking it.
One medication, an antidepressant Strattera, comes with a side effect warning that it can create suicidal thoughts.
Now, we're really only seeing the tip of the iceberg because these are voluntary reports, and only a tiny fraction of these reports get actually made to the Therapeutic Goods Administration. So we simply don't know how many children have wanted to kill themselves as a result of taking Strattera.
There have been adverse events, as you've correctly pointed out.
Adverse events, yeah.
Mr. Whiteley's pointed out. And because of the nature of adverse events, they're often quite rare and they won't be picked up in controlled trials. They'll only be picked up by long-term experience with the drug.
Respected psychiatrist Professor Philip Hazel is on the other side of the ADHD debate. He says, properly used, the benefits of drug treatment far outweigh the risks.
Well, the point I'd make is the treatment for ADHD, which includes drug treatment, can make an important difference to young people's lives. And it's never drug treatment in isolation. It's always, at the very least, concern and advice and monitoring, and sometimes it involves more intensive treatment.
But for Catherine...
Just verify this about some sort of requirements. Let's see. Adderall, prescribe requirements. So this is something I didn't know. I've never had this done to me. So my friend was telling me, I guess in her state or in some cases, that they drug test the Adderall users, people that are being prescribed. So the doctor prescribes you Adderall. They're drug testing you to make sure it's actually in your system, which kind of makes sense because what happens is a lot of these people just sell their prescription or whatever. And so to ensure that you're actually using it and using it properly, some patients with ADHD are drug tested frequently to confirm they are using their prescription properly. Others never at all. I've never been asked that. I would kind of be like, what? If they did. Some adults who take prescription medication for ADHD disorder are required to have their urine tested for drugs several times a year. Others are never tested. Such screenings are designed to check if ADHD patients are safely taking their pills, such as Adderall, and not selling them, taking too many, or using other drugs. So when she told me that, I was surprised because that never happened to me, but it looks like for some people they do it. Or so I guess maybe it depends on their doctor. I mean, I'm in Florida, baby. They just give their shit out like candy. Drug test. I mean, there's probably some places in Florida that do it, but I've never personally experienced it. Drug test, Florida, ADHD. I think sometimes even before prescribing these medications, if you're being prescribed for the first time, I think when I first went to my doctor to get the prescription, I think they drug tested me. I don't remember. I think they did like a urine test the first visit. I don't know what they were, to see if I'm on it already or I don't know what they were looking for, but.
We had the highest prescribing rates in the world, and it was basically because we had a handful, maybe two handfuls of primarily paediatricians who were very inclined to diagnose and prescribe to children.
While few doctors publicly agree with his campaign, he does have qualified support from one of the country's most respected child health experts.
And the Australian of the Year for 2003 is...
Evelyn said, when my daughter was 12, they put her on meds. Not a week later, she became suicidal. I had to leave work to find her wandering the streets to get her to the hospital. She never took meds again. Holy isht. Wow. Sneeze says they do test. Friend was on it and they had THC in his system. Shut him. Really? Just for THC? So your friend was on it and they had THC in their system and they shut him down. Wow. Yeah, I remember when I first went, they did that. They tested me. I think a lot of it is money, though, for sure. I think with those prescriptions, it's supposed to be therapeutic, but I mean, on the doctor's end, these offices and stuff, it's all about money. It is, I think, a lot of it is. Like I said, I've never actually had to do this. I mean, I remember when I walked in, I filled some questionnaire or something like that, some generic questionnaire where you go into the office and they ask you. And I remember I did sit with the doctor when I first went. They asked me a couple questions and stuff, but there was supposed to be some test. I don't know what, some sort of test I was supposed to do. I never did it. I mean, I do legit believe I have whatever you want to call it. People that talk to me on the phone, you can see on live streaming, I'm all over the place. Sometimes it depends. Some days worse than others. Maybe that's why I take so much caffeine sometimes, because maybe I'm like self-medicating a little bit. I just like caffeine, so I'm taking pre-workout all the time. But the caffeine doesn't have the effects that the medication has on me. And again, I don't know, maybe they needed to put me on a lower dose. I've tried different medications. I've tried Concerta. I don't know, was it Ritalin? I know I tried one of them or both. I don't know. I was prescribed either or to switch it up. Then I tried like the regular Adderall instant release, which I felt like was going away too fast. Then I did the XR, which was giving me like these weird heart sensations, which I really didn't like. I stopped taking that shit. And then the last thing, which I've tried twice, is Vyvanse, which seems to be my favorite, but I don't think I've found the proper dose for it. Yada Yada says beach mel I do on weekends. Do you take it on weekends? That's the only time I was actually thinking of going to the doctor again, just to get something where, like, I'm taking a day. Like today, I got to do a whole bunch of cleaning and stuff, and I got to pack Maddie's stuff because she's going away for the weekend to her mother's, and so I've been needing to clean this place up. And when I clean now, normally I'm unfocused. I'm all over the place. I'm texting. I go to the bathroom, I take one thing out, then I go to the bedroom, one thing, then I go to the kitchen, one thing, all over the place. I find it useful for that type of thing, or if I'm trying to get things done, or if I got to get projects done. But other than that, social interactions, live streaming, even parenting, I don't really like it for that. But some people, I've had people tell me that it actually helps them with their parenting. For me, it makes me less patient. Oh no, Elizabeth Myers says BK trial is not to be televised, what I heard. Okay, well, I'm going to have to confirm that. Thank you for telling me. Vyvanse is good for, yeah, I feel like Vyvanse is pretty chill for the most part. But if I take Vyvanse, I can't take pre-workout. That's like too much. I do, Purple. The Mel, you need a woman. I do. Well, I need to be selected though, because I get in trouble.
Professor Fiona Stanley.
Professor Fiona Stanley says there's no doubt for the right kids, drugs like Ritalin are the right treatment.
Oh, absolutely. And there's I think there is good evidence for that in the short term.
But her concern is the unknown effect of sustained use on developing brains and bodies, and the lack of real research.
We don't know how long should you be on it. Some of the parents are very worried because of the depression. They're worried about some of the social and emotional aspects. Is that the condition? Is it the drugs? Is it the fact that they're often ostracised at school? What is it? And you will answer that when you've got enough numbers with rigorous science to actually ask those questions properly.
This is the videotape deposition of Joseph Biederman, MD.
Dr. Joseph Biederman is a scientist dubbed the father of ADHD medication. For decades, the Harvard professor and child psychiatrist has advocated the use of drugs on children diagnosed with ADHD. Worldwide, his work is cited as justification for prescribing these powerful medications to the young.
What rank are you?
For professor.
What's after that? God. Did you say God?
Yeah.
Here at Harvard University, Dr. Biederman is a full professor, very prestigious. A world expert on ADHD, his work has been widely accepted internationally, including in Australia.
So in 2005, you were #1 in terms of total citations
to your papers on ADHD over the course of the past decade. Is that right?
That's correct.
He's incredibly significant. It's impossible, I think, to overstate how significant Dr. Biederman has been in shaping how doctors view ADHD.
Last year in the US, lawyer Fletcher Trammell acted for families suing over the inappropriate use of psychoactive drugs on their children. Summoned to give evidence was Dr. Joseph Biederman. What followed were bombshell revelations casting doubt about the reliability of his pro-medication research.
What's there's a sort of cash for comment environment with Biederman. I mean, and it is of great concern that he didn't disclose the funding.
Martin Whiteley says so long.
You know, just one person's experience to another person. I saw this other video that we don't have to watch the whole thing, but they took like a holistic approach to this. Let me see where it's at. This was kind of interesting. It's actually kind of short anyway. ADHD kids before and after.
Kids who have ADD to meditate and see how it helps them. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get a sense of how ADD, part of what we're doing, we're going to teach kids who have ADD to meditate and see how it helps them. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get a sense of how.
So I don't know if they probably continued their meds or not, or while they were doing this meditation type of thing, but it's still interesting.
How ADD affects you. You have ADD?
Yes.
You know you got it?
Yes.
Okay. How can you tell?
Well, when I get frustrated, I get overly frustrated sometimes. When I can't do my work, I shut down too easily, and I sometimes just have problems overall working and just keeping my anger under control.
I can't sit straight, like sit there for a while and not fidget, and I can't concentrate for a long time. And I can get distracted easily.
Sometimes it's harder for me to read and pay attention in class.
Okay. And is that true at home too, or when you're trying to do homework, or?
Yeah, trying to do homework is kind of tough too.
Well, let me ask you about, do you know what stress is?
Yes.
When you feel stressed, pressured, or tense?
I have a lot. I always have a lot.
A lot of stress?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that. When do you feel stressed? How do you feel stressed?
It's mostly when I'm doing homework. Like I said, when I do something wrong, I could say I'm a lean, mean stress machine.
I guess they're doing their therapy, meditation stuff after 3 months of TM practice.
It's helped me with my schoolwork, not getting as frustrated.
Homework is tough, right? They made this shit really hard now too for these kids. Back in the day, it wasn't that crazy. Now, I don't know if they slowed it down. They were sending these kids with all kinds of shit to the house. Even Maddie stuff. Sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm like, Jesus, what the hell's going on here? Some of the math. And it's not that the math is hard. It's the way like they word things. Some of them, I don't even know what the hell they're saying and what point they're trying to get to.
With my friends and just not getting something with my parents, doing my homework better, not getting into so much fights at school, not getting people angry and stuff like that.
It's kind of easier for me to focus and concentrate my energy on one thing than like going and trying to work on one thing and then fidgeting and trying to stop that and then listen to the teacher at the same time.
I'm much more calmer now than I used to be, and less hyper, and much more mature than I was. And now they want, all my friends want me to come over their house.
Well, I don't stress as much anymore, unless it's like with my friends or whatever, but I don't stress that much anymore, so I'm basically, what it's doing is it's making me be able to focus so I'm not under stress.
JM in the chat says, my youngest used to be hyperactive until I sat him down over and over and over again as a child, and I would explain that there's a time to play and a time to sit. Moderate discipline always helps. And then says my child is now chilled in great grades, does not disrespect anyone, no meds needed. Yeah, I always say Maddie's amazing, and she's been like super just, I don't know, she's just naturally really well behaved and like chilled and like laid back and like just super easy. But like I have one friend that Maddie is a girl. Maddie's friends with her daughter. I haven't seen her in a while, but her daughter is super, super like hyper and stuff. Really good kid though, but she's like hyperactive, like all over the place, like just I guess some kids are like that.
Makes me a lot more confident in myself, because then I know that if I can't get a few things, I don't need to get stressed out about it. I just need to take a little time, go to something else, and then come back to it and work on it.
That's true.
It's working.
JD made a good point. Look how many kids on placebos had great results.
It's improving their lives. It's improving their sense of self. It's empowering them. I mean, I can say that over and over again, but I really do see it making a big difference. And I think that their futures are going to be so much brighter because of it.
So, I thought that was kind of an interesting one to see this was from 8 months ago. New study questions effectiveness of ADHD medications for kids.
Children in the United States are diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. You know it simply as ADHD. Now, of those diagnosed, 90% are prescribed a stimulant, a medication to really help them in school. But a new study reveals some surprising findings about these drugs' effectiveness. Trouble focusing, unable to sit still, problems with paying attention. The symptoms of ADHD can affect a child's ability to learn in the classroom. Medication has long been thought by some experts to help children with ADHD and their academic performance. But not everyone agrees.
Medication is not the silver bullet, or it's ineffective.
Now, new research from Florida International University shows that they might be right. In a study on kids with ADHD between the ages of 7 and 12, researchers found the students learned the same amount of content whether they were taking medication or a placebo.
And that's just what JD was pointing out. And there was the other study where they were saying it seemed like the kids with the placebo, there wasn't that much of a difference.
They also found medication slightly improved test scores if it was taken the day of the test, but not enough to boost grades. This research suggests that there might be cheaper and more effective methods to try first, such as behavioral therapy or even focusing on improving sleep.
Teens with ADHD to have 2 to 3 times more difficulties with sleep problems.
And poor sleep is linked to poor school performance.
You're probably going to do less well in school the next day. You're going to retain less information. You might struggle more during a test.
Experts say it might be beneficial for kids with ADHD to create a bedtime routine, such as brushing teeth, putting on white noise, and keeping phones out of the bedroom.
Yeah, sometimes in life too, man, it's like, we go looking for all these things and solutions. Even, for example, like weight loss. Like right now, I'm kind of stuck at a plateau, annoyingly. And, something as simple as, because I realized too, I don't intake enough water. Increasing your intake of water can help you lose weight, because I think you retain water when you're not consuming enough water. Simple shit. Even just getting sleep and stuff. So sometimes just going to like the most non-complicated, simple, basic human needs of, like, for example, with this case that they're talking about, having an actual bedtime, going to bed on time early so they can wake up and perform in school, do what they got to do. So
the researchers in the study did find that the medication helped students with ADHD complete more seat work, also improved their classroom behavior. Bruce?
Good morning.
Water retention. Not drinking enough water is the main. Yeah, that's so funny, man. First of all, we should understand what factors can cause water retention. Surprisingly, not drinking enough water is the main culprit. Imagine that, right? It makes sense. So I was like, I need to actually start increasing my consumption of water. It could be something as simple as that. You know, I don't eat too bad. I could improve my eating too. I want to increase my protein intake also. But yeah, little simple things that you might not even think about. Or sometimes you're depressed or you're feeling the chronic fatigue, and it could just be some sort of deficiency in your body or whatever. All right, is there anything else? ADHD concerning side effects. This was 8 years ago. Should your kid be on ADHD?
Before the break, we asked you, how many children do you think are diagnosed with ADHD in America? And the answer, a lot of people didn't get this one right. 6.4%.
6.4%. That's
I agree.
right.
Sugar, yeah. Yep.
Right.
A lot of people didn't get this one right. 6.4%.
6.4%. That's right. And we're going to talk about this, of course, in your health check. Those numbers are according to the CDC's parent report. In 2007, 4.8% of kids were on ADHD medication. By 2011, that number had climbed to 6.1%.
Less salt too. True, JB.
It's likely even higher now. So many parents struggle, of course, with the decision on whether or not to medicate their children, knowing when to see a doctor, whether to resort to medication, and for how long. That's what we're helping you to navigate this morning.
We had struggles in the classroom, and we discovered that he had the symptoms of ADHD.
Clean the living room.
Mario was in second grade when Mom Savannah noticed he couldn't focus.
It kind of hurts that your child is going through that, and the first thing you think of is, how do I make this better?
They changed his diet, cut back on sugar.
We try to give him a natural sugar, no Kool-Aid, no fruit drinks.
And tried counseling through Children's Health.
They're really smart. They just can't focus.
Pediatrician Don Johnson points to 3 signs your child may have ADHD: inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity.
The symptoms have to be big enough to cause impairment, meaning they can't learn, they can't stay in a normal environment as other children their age, and the symptoms have to be severe.
Some of the biggest questions for parents are around ADHD medication.
And there's great worry that we're overdiagnosing children, and I think in some instances that might be true, but at the same time, we are now more knowledgeable about behavioral and psychiatric problems.
Dr. Johnson says 1/3 of children don't need medication after 2 or 3 years. It's the kids who don't get diagnosed and treated who suffer.
They're more likely to be involved in accidents, more likely to do high-risk behaviors, such as drugs, more likely to have poor school performance.
All the way to the finish line.
After counseling, Savannah ultimately decided not to medicate Mario, instead making lifestyle changes at home and school.
This is definitely better for us.
And then after that.
All right, and of course, this is a unique and individual choice. We know a lot of you have.
Yeah, it's like a big thing for parents and stuff. Glory says, do you use fake sugars? I don't really use any sugar. But the stuff that I consume sometimes has sugar, but I actually don't even have any sugar in the house. I used to use, very, very long ago, I used regular sugar, but then when I did start consuming sugar, I used to keep stevia around sometimes. But I don't have like any sugar in the house. Ooh, I've always wanted to try that. Hoke says, do 10-day trial of CrossFit. I should do that. That's intense. I might look into that. Oh, you went hiking up a mountain to break your plateau once. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to get something, because I feel like once you break the plateau, then you're good. Like it keep, as long as you're eating right and working out. But it's like when you hit that plateau, it's like so annoying. And you got to change something up, and it usually has to be like something kind of drastic. You got to do something to like break through. And what does your body do to stevia? Turn it into sugar, I guess. I don't know. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. They say that's the healthy alternative, but I don't know. No stevia. No. Well, Splenda's worse. I thought Splenda was worse than stevia. I thought stevia was actually good for you, no? Maybe I have to look it up. Stevia is a sugar substitute made from the leaves of stevia. It's about 100 to 300 times sweeter. You usually got to just put like 1 drop or 2 drops than sugar, but it has no carbohydrates, calories, or artificial ingredients. Not everyone likes the taste. Some people find it bitter. Stevia is healthy for you as long as you consume it in moderation, like everything else in life. Yeah, going up and down the mountain. Sugargate. Honey, maple syrup, monk fruit. Monk fruit, I heard monk fruit is good. I haven't tried it. Or honey, maple syrup, okay. Honey, you got to take in moderation too. No, Sam. Stevia like stevia. That's stevia stuff. I never tried it. I would never want to try that. That stuff looks. I mean, the experiences from I've heard from people, their stories. That shit sounds really scary. Okay. All right, I guess that's it. I just wanted to pop in a little bit, say hi to you guys, try to kind of get myself a little bit more active, a little bit on YouTube. I'm still doing like this, whatever, trying to lose some weight, little self-care and all this stuff, exercising, but I'm easing myself back in. I don't know about, so what I'm thinking we do with this other trial, the ex-football player, maybe we should just do opening statements one day and see how we feel about it and go from there. Like we could just take I don't know, how long is opening statements? Maybe we can do one day where we do opening statements, feel it out, see how we feel, interested or not, and then we go from there. Maybe over the weekend. Just check it out and see. leaf lettuce. Any sugar substitute is not good because it tricks the pancreas, especially bad for diabetics. I do not do sugar or salt. Damn. Nothing. No sugar, no artificial sweeteners either. Gotta be clean. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for coming through. Take care. I don't think we're gonna get much updates on this either. The only updates we're ever gonna get from this story is from the mother. And I think the mother maybe did this interview to kind of close the chapter publicly, I'm thinking. To say that she believes it's the medication and a manic episode. You know, we'll never really know, I guess. Damn. Oh, this is a subscriber. I've seen this person in my chat, but they said here, they left a comment under News Nation and they said, about 2 or 3 months after stopping my ADHD med, I locked myself in a closet because I was afraid I was going to kill my dog. It was everything I could do to not kill her, and I didn't understand why. I had a very small morsel of something that told me something was happening and these weren't real feelings. That morsel saved my life, or saved my dog and me. Scariest thing I've ever experienced. Wow. I mean, when I was on when I did the LSD story that I shared, and I was really kind of doing some crazy shit that night, there was that small part and morsel of me telling me, like, this is not like you're kind of tripping. This is like, there's a small part of me telling me, like, kind of give me reality checks throughout. And somebody commented under that comment and said, I had a similar experience, but with my mom. I made her tie me up and take me to the emergency room because I didn't want to hurt her. I was later diagnosed with OCD and having intrusive thoughts. ERP saved me from that misery. Best of luck to you. I'm sorry you went through that. I think it's important for people to share those stories, though. Just like when we heard the story with the mother. I mean, whether you believe it's true or not, I'm glad that she came out and at least shared it. It would be nice to know what medication. It would be nice to know what medication exactly, because I just feel like that could be kind of crucial information for people out there. Maybe somebody watching that's thinking about putting their kid on that medication or whatever, maybe might second guess it, or maybe they'll look out for symptoms. That stuff just hits everybody differently. So somebody else commented, my ex was on the medication for ADHD and her mom warned me that if she's off her meds, watch out. And sure enough, she missed a dose and became very violent. She would scream and hit all of us when it happened. After a couple of years, I had to leave. I'm surprised you lasted a couple of years. Holy shit. What medication was it? Was it exactly? The person replied, one of them they tried was Ritalin. Not sure of anything else. Well, somebody else here said ADHD medication doesn't make you stab people. They were underlying anger, mood, and impulse issues in this child. It's possible. I mean, with the father that the child had, the one that was stabbed to death, the brother, the father clearly has some issues. The guy killed the cat and tortured the cat in order to like rid the family of the burden of the kittens that it had or whatever. Somebody said here, there's a lot of sympathy for their mother, but somebody here said, and I guess the one thing I wanted to add is that I felt interesting that the 12-year-old girl was cursing and fully aware what she did was illegal and could cause her to go to jail. She seemed very concerned that her life was over and that she was going to jail. She did not seem as concerned that her brother could possibly be dead. She committed murder. Oh, so somebody here commented too, I worked in pharmaceuticals for 20 years. Yes, some medications can cause irritability, but it's irresponsible to blame medication alone. And Julie, or somebody commented under, agrees she had previously been on it for 5 years and was never violent, so I highly doubt it was the medication. So some people don't really, apparently you've never had a serious side effect from the medication. There's a lot of people going back and forth. Somebody else said coming off of these drugs, SSRIs included, are indescribable nightmare. The intrusive thoughts and rage are very hard to control. I'm currently going through this, and it's an absolute living nightmare. Somebody said that mom is reaching for excuses. There's other issues than ADHD. I don't know. I mean, some of the side effects, she could have had a rare side effect. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for anyone. We're all just speculating. None of us know, and we'll never know. I don't know, but I'm thinking that this girl is probably going to be out. I don't know when, whether it's months or years, because she was underage at the time. They'll probably let her out. Now, I don't know if I was the parent. Is she going to let that child live with her? If you were a parent, would you take that child back in? I'd be kind of concerned. I don't know. But of course that she loves her daughter and stuff, but I'd be a little bit kind of like, I don't know. I used to joke around about back in the day because I used to cover these stories where and it happens all the time, these kids kill their parents. And I used to joke around and say, that's why I locked the door to my room. When I used to live at my mother's, I used to always lock the door. Because, well, I don't know. In case somebody, it'd be really hard for somebody to get into the room without me knowing. Whether it's one of these, whether it's my mother or somebody breaks in the house or some shit, I'm locking the door. And even that doesn't really save you. People can, get in or whatever, but any kind of line of whatever, you just never know what somebody's going through these days. Or a family member or an uncle. Not that I think my mother would kill me, but I was just always like, I'm just locking the door. A lot of people are saying my son was on ADD med. After a while, he wanted to stop. He didn't like the way it made him feel. I wasn't happy about it, but he was older and I let him make the decision. Why weren't you happy? If he told you he doesn't like it, why are you not happy? I don't like the way it makes me feel, so you're unhappy he's getting off. Okay, take him off. After seeing this, I believe the child knows if it's a good fit or not. I mean, you have to listen to child, but ultimately the parent makes the decision, but you have to listen to your child and take that into consideration into what your decision is. But if my kid's on medication and they're like, I don't feel good, I don't like the way I feel about it, I'm not going to be like angry that they're getting off of it. Like, what? Or did she keep him on until he got older and then got off because he was older? He was able to get off, so she was upset. I don't get it. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough decision, and I'm glad at least the mom maybe spoke a little bit to it. And I don't think we'll get anything else beyond that, Oh, and yeah, Glory, everybody's chemistry. Well, it says everyone's body chemistry changes meds. Everybody's body chemistry changes. Meds, they should have all incomprehensible testing. Yeah, it's really hard. You can't test every single. You can do these wide tests, I guess, but like you're not going to encapsulate every single potential. KKS said it's nasty, Adderall. Oh, by the way, I ordered a completely unrelated. I ordered a light because a couple people kept telling me my face is like dark because the lighting. So I have something coming tomorrow that I'll try out. I'm gonna put it behind this thing and see. I know it gets kind of dark with the lighting here. All right, let me see any other interesting comments. Somebody here says, I don't know. Nope, not true. I've been a psychologist for 18 years. ADHD medication like Adderall can cause increase in irritability. I've seen that with some patients, but it does not cause someone to be homicidal unless she had already a predisposition to violent behavior / antisocial or sociopath personality traits. And the effects of that medication definitely do not last years after being off of it. I feel for the mom. I can understand why, making excuses or trying to make sense of her daughter murdering her son, and she was being homeschooled. I think there is way more of a profile to this girl than just taking Adderall. Just because you're a psychologist doesn't mean you know how the medicine interacted with the individual biochemistry of this young girl. There's always exceptions to how people interact with drugs. You need to go back to school. Oh shit, it's hot in the comment section. I would get agitated too. Somebody said I took the medication from Ritalin to Adderall, you name it. I can confirm it makes you very agitated, very angry. So yeah, I remember when I was on it too, I would get snippy, like extra snippy. I can sometimes get snippy now, but I would get like extra fucking like agitated. I mean, it went from being great to like I was getting agitated. Like if I get a call and I'm on Adderall and I'm like editing, I'll get annoyed. Or start getting text messages, I'll get annoyed. Like more so than maybe now. Like it depends, like just it's like an irrational agitation kind of. Yeah, this person said, I also attacked my sibling, in my case with a baseball bat. Thank goodness it was not fatal, but my mom tried to say the same thing and she was right, but the court didn't listen. That wasn't me, it was my mental illness. I was later diagnosed with bipolar, PTSD, and anxiety, depression, DSM-5, and I think one or two more. Damn, you got everything. But I went from jail and was put in an outpatient mental health program, which put me on the correct meds. Eventually, and for a long time, I've been med-free. Oh wow, so you went through all that, and you still became med-free after having all those diagnoses. My mental health is much better. I have a job and a place to live, so I think she needs help, not jail. Well, she's not in. She's like in Julia, I think she's getting help. And the only thing to me, when I was taking Adderall and then I got off, the only real, for me, side effect was I was just really tired and sleepy. Like I just like for days, maybe like a week or so, I was kind of, I guess it's different for everybody. But like I just felt like tired, heavy, like extra tired and heavy, and slept a lot. Wow. This hurts my heart to hear. They tried to put my son on ADHD meds and then had him on edge after the first month. The psychiatrist said, well, let's turn it up another 10 milligrams and see if that helps. See if that doesn't help. So that was 20 milligrams the next month. I told her he tried to attack me and one of his siblings over something that shouldn't have made him mad, so upset. She had the nerve to say, well, it's up at another 10 milligrams. What the F? I weaned him off of it and he's thriving. I just give him some coffee in the mornings and he's good to go. Praying for this mama. Dang. Oh, yeah, let's just up the medication. He's agitated. Well, maybe the doctor had the thought that like the drug's wearing off too fast, and so let's give it more to make it last longer. So I don't know. It is hard on your heart. It is. There's a lot of people with different stories on here. Somebody said, I found it interesting that her stepdad had previously tortured and killed a cat under the combination of alcohol and stated that he didn't recall what happened or why he did it because he was under the influence. He also gave a cellmate brain injury and has a history of violent attacks. I know ADHD has side effects, but I'm curious to know what type of relationship him and the 12-year-old had during that time they were together as a family. Good question. The 12-year-old didn't really ask about her brother once. She snapped out of it and even had asked the cops to uncuff her because she's a good kid. Very odd for someone screaming, I'm sorry, and aware of what happened, waiting for more details to unfold. I don't think we're going to get much, especially that it's minors. Oh shit. Somebody said Manic episode, yes, she threw the knife out the window afterwards. Oh Lord. Comment sections. Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth in here. It's kind of hot. I'm still scrolling. It's like non-stop comments. All right. I think we encapsulated a good amount of. I'm always just curious to hear like people's stories. We might do a stream one day if people are actually interested in calling and just telling their story. I think we should schedule it in advance. But maybe I've talked about doing an Adderall stream forever, but I don't know. We'll see. Shelly says, yeah, coffee has been proven to help focus in children. Kay found this out 3 months ago. I've always wondered why coffee made me sleep. Ooh. I know some people that take coffee at nighttime. Let's see. JB says food allergies can make kids violent and abusive too, especially milk allergy, but no one likes to talk about that anymore. Not sure why. Yeah, the comments are on the actual video that was posted. So the original videos from News Nation. Chris Cuomo interviewed the mother. I'll put the link in the description too if you guys want to see. Put it in the description if you want to go check it out. See, News Nation, Cuomo. Okay, add it there. So okay, I just added it to the description. It's a really short video. But if you're interested in checking out the comments section, there's a lot of back and forth and interesting stuff going on there. That could do that too. Could be all drugs. That'd probably be a full call stream. It would be include a mental health expert if you do calls. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we could, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like even mental health experts, I feel like some are biased. Some are like, I feel like even when you're going to a therapist, you have to shop around and find a good therapist. I mean, I remember one, I had one that was like very like biased, like overt feminist type that like was okay with like a woman hitting a guy type of stuff. Like it was just really fucking weird. So I really think even with therapists, just like a doctor, you should go to, you know, if you're not happy with one doctor you go to somebody else. You might get different opinions and different information. One doctor might tell you one thing and the other one tells you something else. I mean, overall, it might be good to have one, but I don't know that I want somebody moderating the calls. Or like, you know, I don't know. Because it's just for people to share their experience. It's not to tell them, I don't know, to do this, do that, or go get this, or whatever, you know. Dr. Lewis. Let's get Dr. Lewis. Grumpy said Dr. Lewis. Let's get Dr. Lewis. Dorothy Lewis. Cow milk hormones in humans. Oh, shit. Yeah, if you guys could hit like, I'm going to roll out. Thank you guys so much for today's stream. Elizabeth, thank you for the 20-month membership. Says, woohoo, I've been a member for a year and 5 months. Damn. In 8 days. Love your channel. Keep it the great work. Thank you so much. And Lady Butterfly, thank you for the 12-month membership. Says, thanks for the great channel, Mel. Thank you. Rebecca, thank you for the 6-month membership. Donna, thank you for becoming a member. Yep, I'm Nosy. Thank you for the 3-month membership. Sharon Lewis, thank you for the 4-month membership. Says, hey, y'all, sad story. Nelly, thank you for the 3 months membership. Says, RIP to boy, thanks before you do. Thank you. And that's it. We're out of here. Bye. You guys have a great day. Be safe.